What's the word, y'all? Before this video starts, I'd like to clarify that I am not a doctor. All the medical mumbo jumbo I'm gonna be saying in this video are straight out of Wikipedia. So if I get things wrong, I'm sorry. I have the same medical knowledge as Dr. Phil, whom I just learned is not a doctor. Out of all the Straw Hats' dream, it feels like Chopper's dream of curing all the diseases in the One Piece world is the most ambitious. Yeah, you got Robin trying to find a history lesson, Sanji trying to find a sea, and Zoro trying to be the world's strongest swordsman. Yeah, you got Jinbei's dream of trying to stop fish racism, but it's just a big fat fish breeding dolphin. So who cares what he has to say? But Chopper's dream of curing all the diseases in the One Piece world is by far the most useful, especially in the One Piece world. If Chopper somehow manages to cure all the diseases in the One Piece world, no one would die of natural causes anymore. Well, until they start making a healthcare system that would scam you out of your health insurance. I'll be listing down every known disease in the One Piece world and ranking them on how deadly they are, listing out their cures and all the known cases, as well as their real-world counterpart if it existed in the real world. So subscribe, like the video, I don't really care. Just support small creators. Kicking off things with the least deadliest disease, which is the diver's disease that Mott Black Cricket got in the Jai arc. This was very self-explanatory. Diver's disease, it only happens to divers. You dive too deep underwater, the water pressure changes, and if you keep doing that again and again, your blood wouldn't get used to the sun and changes, thus causing you to get sick. Cricket got this when he was diving deep trying to find Nolan's treasure, which he thought was sunk below, but was in actuality lifted up to the sky. And there's a foreshadowing here of, islands sinking and going up to the sky, but I'm not the one to tell you that right now. Just don't skip Skypea. This is actually a real disease in the real world. It's called decompression sickness, and it actually works the same way, so maybe Oda got inspiration from this one. Chopper manages to cure Cricket very easily through Chopper's medical powers. I mean, when a reindeer from a pirate ship gives you medicine for your diver's disease, you take it, right? But normally to cure decompression sickness, you have to go through a hyperbaric oxygen therapy. And no, I'm not talking about the hyperbolic time chamber. That's a different one. But basically, it's oxygen therapy where you adjust your body to breathing properly again. Because, if you're that deep underwater, you forget how to breathe. I'm not the one to tell you this, but I can't swim. So I'm afraid of the ocean. So what kind of sane man goes that deep underwater without like a suit or something like that? The next disease, which only affects Kudra Empress from Amazon Lily, is the lovesickness disease, which Boa Hancock got in Amazon Lily. When they see someone they're in love with, their heart ache, and I'm not talking about like normal heartache, I'm actually talking about heart pain. Their heart just gets pressurized and they feel incredible amounts of heart pain to the point if they deny the feelings, it mimics a small heart attack. And apparently, it's the only disease to go past legal parameters because Luffy is 17 and Boa Hancock was 29 at the time. So Oda is cooking once again. I don't know if Oda's cooking. I don't know. There's actually a real world equivalent to this one. It's actually called broken heart syndrome. So I don't know if Oda got this from inspiration or experience through his own heartbreak. Actually, I don't know. It's when extreme emotional stress from a breakup or rejection causes you to feel pain from your heart, mimicking a small heart attack. So it seems like the sickness is purely on the brain. Again, I'm not a doctor and I'm also never had a girlfriend. So I'm basically the worst person to ask for information about this sickness. But, it's real, everybody. It's a real disease. I'll be lumping in the next two because it was both made by Queen and got neutralized by Chopper in a matter of minutes. I give Chopper a hardball in Wano and constantly dunked on him on every step of the way because this pure rat was reduced to a healer role in Wano. Props to Chopper for cooking up a cure for a virus that no one knows existed, but still Chopper sucks. The two viruses Queen made were the Ice Oni virus and the Mummy virus. The Mummy virus, which is spread through this acidic green mixture, which turns everyone it touches into mindless zombies trying to infect everyone at will. Then there's the Ice Oni virus, which is even wilder because not only you got turned into this savage ice demon who wants to eat everybody, but your skin is also infected with massive amounts of frostbite, gives hawk-like strength until you die in a couple of minutes, you infect everybody on the way. So not exactly realistic diseases, I hope not, but I think both I can relate to rabies. But again, that's a big if, this is where this rabies and this is all the viruses in the One Piece world. It's very different. But rabies makes you aggressive and you die if it gets worse. It's actually contagious through saliva. But the strength stuff, it's just pure anime magic. We don't have ice demons. We don't have zombies, which I hope not, unless you consider Jimmy Carter's corpse. Next up is the 5-day disease, which Nami got in Little Garden. 5-day disease does what it sounds like. The first 4 days, you get high fever, you get a rash, until the 5th day, where Dr. Correa said, "You'll be okay, but you'll be dead." It's actually a disease you get from a kestia, a bug which everyone thought would be extinct. But since Little Garden was filled with, prehistoric animals, plants, and the environment actually mimicked an environment from the past, thus an extinct disease is brought back from the past. Luckily, the cure was already common nowadays, so Nami was up and running in a couple of hours. Closest real-world counterpart to this disease is called the Rocky Mountain Fever, another bug bite-borne disease. It starts off with a high fever, followed up with a rash, and after 5 days, if you don't get an antibiotic, you're dead. So, a lot of similarities with a 5-day disease, 5 days to live. It's a bug-borne disease, so it's safe to say Oda got not got the Rocky Mountain Fever. I hope not. He did not get it. He took inspiration from the Rocky Mountain Fever to make the 5-day disease. Now we get into our big boys. The top 3 deadliest disease in the One Piece world. Diseases that could wipe out entire islands, even entire population. Starting off with the 3rd deadliest disease, the tree fever from Jaya. This thing hit the Shandia people from 400 years ago, spreading towards animals, trees, and even humans. The Shandia got this, you get dark mossy spots in your skin, and if it spreads, it's lights out for you. If it weren't for Nolan's expertise, the Shandia would have been all wiped out. The thing that makes this dangerous is actually because it's highly contagious. Not just from humans, it spreads through animals and plants and trees. And with Jaya being, filled with massive trees, there's no way to hide from this, deadly disease. Closest thing to a contagious disease like this was the Black Plague. Because, it spreads black mossy spots to your skin, and in a few days, you die. The disease was so contagious, in fact, that it almost wiped the entire Europe continent apart. The 2nd deadliest disease is actually a rare disease. It's called sapphire scale. Not contagious, but it's actually hereditary. The only 2 people known to have sapphire scales was Ginny, Bonnie's mother, who died, and Bonnie herself. It's a very rare disease. Sapphire-like stones grow in your skin, which is sensitive to natural light. It can be sunlight or moonlight. If it gets touched by natural light, the disease will spread through your body, causing you to die with it. Ginny died with it. It took the greatest scientist in the One Piece world, the most advanced, expensive medical technology, just to cure the sapphire scales from Bonnie. There's not exactly a real-world counterpart to this, a deadly disease that is sensitive to light and it spreads around you. But there is one that covers your skin like a rock formation, and it's called scleroderma. It's called scleroderma. It hardens your skin, looking like a rock-like formation, and in some cases, it hardens your organs, which can lead to death. And the number 1 most deadliest disease in the One Piece world is amber lead poisoning, the gift that keeps on giving, which Law and his entire island got from mining a shiny rock called amber lead. They thought they were mining something that could get them rich, but it was actually a diseased time bomb. It's actually very scary because the miners who mined the amber lead didn't know they got the disease until 5 or 6 years later, where everyone in the town who came in contact with amber lead, even children who never came in contact, just children from the miners, got poisoned simultaneously. It's like a time bomb, almost as if someone pulled the trigger of the time bomb and just pressed the button and just boom. The only person to ever live with amber lead poisoning is Law, who performed surgery on himself by eating the Opi Opi no Mi. There's a real-world counterpart to this with a very same name, and it's called lead poisoning. You breathe in dust from mining and it wrecks your brain and your kidneys, causing you to die. However, it's actually not genetic unless your whole family is a bunch of miners. A lot of you guys in the comments might say that sapphire scales are more dangerous than amber lead poisoning. I'm going off based on how difficult it is to cure. Because Bonnie was cured through conventional means, experimental machine, and the greatest scientist in the world made a machine to cure sapphire scales. But with amber lead poisoning, the only known cure that we know was the Oppi Oppi no Mi. And good luck trying to find a devil fruit, especially that rare of a devil fruit, that specific devil fruit. Even Blackbeard had to wait 30 years just to find a specific devil fruit on a Yonko crew. So, you can argue in the comments which one is more, deadlier or, more difficult to cure in the comments. So anyways, this is the end of the video. Like and subscribe, support small creators. I love you guys. Real one, say it back.